Okay, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at creating a very simple landscape painting in watercolour, which includes a little boat on the beach, just to give you a feel of what you might be able to achieve quite easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this paper here. It's a standard format. We're using the coarser of the papers, which is the cold pressed, which we talked about, and it allows us to have a little bit of texture. What we will do eventually in the class is we'll do things like texturization. We can use things like salt, would you believe? We can use cling film. We can create all sorts of effects with our watercolors, but we'll cover that in the series if you follow on from these initial ones. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to recap on some of the techniques, which is the dry on dry and wet. That's the two main ways of painting watercolors. And another thing we can do is we can take a fine liner pen, and that's called pen and wash, where we mix a bit of pen work for drawing. Rather than doing the drawing and the composition just with paints, we can actually use a fine liner pen, and that's called pen and wash. But we'll cover that in other classes. But at the moment, I'll just use the watercolors initially as they come from the palette here. I'll show you the image I'm working off. This is just a wee bit on paper, a wee template, just to show you the little boat on the beach, sitting on a West Coast beach. And it's in simple terms. We'll do a little bit of sky, we'll do the boat, and we'll do a wee bit background of landscape. So a good way to start is just to position the boat. And I'm actually going to just take a brush, load it up, and I'm just now going to take a darker colour. I'm going to use some lamp black just as a wee drawing tool, just so you can see it against the white paper. And again, you could choose any colour combinations you want. And when you gain more experience, you'll actually have more confidence to draw and mix colours on the plate or in a tray, or actually on the paper. And we'll also cover the wet and wet. We'll be mixed colours actually on the paper, which we'll do for the sky in this little video. An easy thing to do a boat, people get caught up with the boat, but I'm just going to do a large elliptical 8. You can see that. And then what I do, I put the stern in, just to get me the rough position, and then I can put the bow, and I can just pull that round to get a wee bit perspective, just to get the shape. So it's a long elliptical figure of 8, just to get a very approximate shape of a wee rowing boat. Simple as that. So that's just the basic shape. Now what I can do, a very important thing when you're setting at a landscape, is just to refer to the horizon. I'll just take some blue because the horizon will coincide with the level of the ocean, which is where the horizon is, if there's a seascape. So I'm just going to do this behind the boat, take some blue, and just draw through the background. That's our eye level. Now, eventually we'll talk about, in more advanced classes, we'll talk about perspective, what the horizon is, and all these things. But don't worry about that just now. We're just setting out, in basic terms, how you can create an image using the watercolors. So again, it will just always wash out your brushes when you're changing colors, or change brush if you've got another set. Remember, we had the flat, we had the round, and we had the wee one brush, which is the very small detail brush, which is fun just for doing little details if you want to do that. Or as I say, we could use the fine liner pen. So what we could do, we'll just let that dry because we don't want to mix too much up. And now I could actually just do a wash on the sky. So if you remember from the first little videos, we were looking at the two techniques, and I'm just going to do wet and wet, which is just loading the brush up with water from your beaker. And I'm just applying that straight onto my paper in the sky area above the boat. Okay, just apply it, but be quite generous, because if you put too little, it will dry very quickly. It doesn't give you time to blend and mix. So in simple terms, I'll stick with the round brush. Now, we'll take the main blues we tend to work with are cerulean blue, which is a mid blue, and a deeper blue, which is ultramarine blue. So since we'll use ultramarine at the moment, and I'm exaggerating the blues here because you might want the sky to be paler, but of course we could use Chinese white to pale colours, or we can use lamp black to darken colours. So this is wet and wet, where we've loaded the brush up with pigment, and we literally drop that in to our sky, and I'm just gradually pulling it down. And if you remember from the first series of videos, it gets paler as it comes down because the pigment's been drawn off the brush and absorbed by the paper. And I'm just shaping it around the top of the boat. We'll model the boat and create a bit of contrast, which one of the things I will talk about eventually in classes is what I call the 3 C's. The first C is our composition, which we're just setting up just now. The second is the contrast level across the painting, which is the balance between highlights and shadows and mid-tone. And eventually we'll talk about a point of interest, which is convergence, is where we actually pull the viewer into particular parts of the work. Now that can be done in a lot of ways, but again, that we'll cover later on, more advanced level as we go on. So you can see I've just put that wash, wet and wet. And you remember also, if we have tissue, you can draw, before that dries, we can actually form some very simple clouds by just drawing off. And all we're doing, we're blotting before it dries the watercolour from the page, from the paper. And you can see, even by doing that, we have some very basic cloud effects. And all we've done is we've put a wet and wet wash and we're drawing out a layer of paint. And at this stage, when it's drying, we'll do a blended colour where we can actually another tone. And I'm just going to take a small amount of, now, yellow ochre is a colour we'll talk about a lot during further series. It's a tan colour of paint, yellow ochre, lovely name. And I'm just going to literally drop that in as a sort of shading tool, because clouds will have a shadow at one side depending on your light source. In this case, the light's coming from my left, so in which case I'm going to have shadows in the clouds on the right hand side. So I'm just using that yellow ochre to drop in a tone, and I will blend it on the page with the blue that's already there. And on the underside, underneath clouds, we've got shadows where the light doesn't reach underneath. So even in simple terms, if I drop some colour in, and if it's too intense, and we'll do this a lot, always have tissue ready, we can blot that back and soften the intensity and the saturation of the colour. And you can rework the tops of clouds as you go along. Now I'm using the yellow ochre so you can see the contrast. We could mix another sort of more greyish tone, which traditionally the sky would be, shadows would be greys. And if you look at the average cloud, you've got hundreds of tones of white and grey and blue surrounding, which is in essence. So it makes you look at sky slightly differently. But again, we can do it spontaneously because we're creating an illusion of what a sky looks like rather than copying it from a photograph. Okay? So I'm going to just add more water in, and with the blue, see I've still got blue, and I can work around and re-emphasize the outlines of the clouds. And at this stage, since I've got blue on the brush, I'm going to take that down into the water and put a little wash of blue just at the background. And I'll just lift it just to peel it off, the junction between that and the sand. So the boat's very near the edge of the water, just sitting at the edge. And at this stage, now what we could do, we could drop in some green, mix it on the plate here just to peel it. Now you lighten everything by just watering it down. So if I put green on the plate, the more water I add, the thinner the wash becomes and the paler the tone. So that's where the subtlety comes of watercolour. So we'll just drop in. So this is wet and wet, where we're just putting a secondary tone. I'll use even a pale lichen green, and we can create a kind of West Coast turquoise. So we're mixing green, pale green, lichen green with the blue, and it gives us a wee sort of blue turquoisey tone. And I'm doing this very quickly, just as a demo. We would normally spend a bit more time just more carefully working up the painting. But again, the idea of watercolour is meant to be spontaneous and rather than too prescribed. And that's where everybody's styles will develop. I'll just tone that down with a wee bit Chinese white, just to pale the blue. And it's all about tonal variation. When you add in another wash, you're changing the tone or the transparency of the paper. Remember we talked about the light coming from the paper. That's our light source, and we're just creating filters or bands of semi-transparent filters to change the tone. Okay, now you see I work quite furiously with a brush, and that's just my technique. You might want to work slower, but you can move paint around until it dries. You've still got time to move the paint around and create a bit of mood and atmosphere. Okay, so I'll just bring that down to the horizon, peeling it down just to join it up. Okay, so in very simple terms, that's a very basic mixing of wet and a wee bit tonal work. I'll take a little bit of lamp black just to show you. If I put some deeper shadows in, I can just drop in. See, it's dark at the moment, but it'll peel up. And I can just, gives me another band of tone, because it's all a matter of different tones and balance. Now I'm exaggerating there. I'll pin it back, blot it back. So coming to the boat, what we'll do is we'll just wash that brush out. And I'm just going to actually just take a very thin brush and just do the clinker board panels on the boat. Just take a little, mixing brown and black just to make an inky tone. So I can actually form some shadows in the back of the boat where the light's not going to quite reach. I'm just putting, this is straight onto the dry paper, so that's dry work. So you're taking the pigment and dropping it straight onto the dry paper. So it means it doesn't run and blend so quickly. Okay, so imagine that was a little bit of shadow at the back of the boat where the light's not reaching, and then underneath we'll have some shadow where it meets the sand, or just load that brush up. And it's all about thinking where the dark and the light areas of the subject are. And then with a very thin brush I could actually put some individual planking very loosely. So I load the brush up, always load the brush up with plenty of paint. Again, plenty of paint. So just pinch it. If the fibres get mixed up, so I just pinch them and water them and pinch them, and you'll just sharpen the edge. And load again. And very quick, I'm just doing some very loose lines, very pale. Just to great effect, a wee bit clinker board on the side. Now there's no tonal variation, but we'll do a wee tint in that in a minute. And I'm going to deepen the shadows in that corner of the back of the boat. And just where there might be a wee seat inside, it'll just catch. And maybe a bit shadow underneath that. And then you can fine tune the shape. If you don't think the elliptical shape of the boat's right, you can actually just take a darker colour and fine tune it while it's still drying. There's the wee shadow on the top edge. Okay, and I'll leave that for a second. Now, we haven't done anything with the foreground, but we'll just put a very pale wash. Take a clean brush, this is the flat, and I'm just taking some yellow ochre and watering it down quite heavily just to give it a slight tone, a sandy tone. And I'm exaggerating it here because it's just to let you see, to bring it up to the bottom of the boat. And when if it's not dry, the colours will mix, but you don't mind them blending slightly because it just softens everything, and then we can get that impressionistic effect. So again, plenty water. I'm going to just deliberately drop in a little, this is like a copper colour, and I'm just going to, with artistic license, pretend it's little outcrops of rock. And this is wet and wet, we're just forming some little variation in the a wee bit landscape, wee bit sort of rocks coming down which are toned, and we'll put some shadows in that just to pull that together. Now what I can then do is I can just use that colour just to act as a slight shading tool, and I can just tone the back of the boat. You can even lift colour from your page and use it as a very pale tint just to act as a slightly darker area where the light's not catching. And at the bottom of the boat we'll let that dry, and we'll really put in strong shadows. And the front of the bow of the boat where the light's catching, and it'll curve round, and it'll suddenly, you'll get little bands of shading starting to take place. So we'll emphasise that a bit more at the back. Where the light's not reaching, we'll just dampen it down. And now we could put a shadow on the sand eventually, so we'll just do wet and wet, and we'll pretend that's a wee bit of a shadow onto the sand from the boat. I'll exaggerate it a bit. That'll dry lighter, but again I can still blot if it's too heavy. But just to give a wee hint of where there might be a shadow if the light source is coming down from above. Again, the back, the stern will be slightly darker, and the underside. Okay, now if we put too much paint in and work too fast, it'll get muddy, and that's where people get frightened of watercolour, because basically they can lose control of the colours and they get frightened and it puts them off. So just take your time, have a break, let it dry out a bit. You can even use, would you believe, a hairdryer to speed up the process, but sometimes that can be too quick. But already I can decide if I want to just blot, take some of the intensity off of the colour. And this is what people don't always realise with watercolour. You can actually pull it back, pale out, and you can even blend. You can actually blend with your tissue some colours that are actually on the surface as well. Or another thing you can do is you can just take a very clean brush and you can lift paint off. You're just diluting, you're just lifting. If you dry it out completely, if you dry it particularly, we can lift paint out just using the brush. We can lift paint from the surface. So it's just blotting out back into the brush. Okay. And I can just tint the water and tone it a little bit because it won't be one tone. And you just build up confidence. And I'm doing this very quickly, but it's just to give you an overall effect. One thing we'll eventually do is with skies, we can actually tint with gouache, which is a white opaque paint or acrylic, and we can actually tone clouds when they're dry. The purists would say you can't do that, but I'm not a purist watercolours. It's good to use multimedia, and actually we can tinge a little bit of acrylic paint just to dress the highlights. But we'll let that dry for a bit. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to emphasise some even more shadows. So I'm going to take lamp black and some ultramarine blue, make it really inky, and I'm going to really emphasise strong shadows now. It's just to show you how you can get that intensity. So the dark against the light, we're always trying to create dark against light. But even if I do that, it starts to, you can see the lightness at the beginning, at the front of the bow, tones to the mid-tone, and now we've got our darker tones. And every painting, every project will ask the question, highlight, mid-tone, and shadows. It's the three things. I'll reiterate that every class. And when people send in work for crits, before you do, ask your own question, have I put in the three tones? And you'll get more confident about adding them in. Now we could put a backdrop of headlands and things, even just quickly, I'll just take some green. I'll just pretend that's a headland at the back. Behind the boat coming from the shore behind. We could even have a little bit, imagine it was a cove. We could actually form a little headland, and we could mix these with different colours. And the whole thing, we're trying to create an impression. We're not making a photograph, it's an impression. And even now I'm actually loosening it up by just extending and blending so it just becomes less rigid. And again, I could go back up into the sky and I can re-emphasize some of the shadows. If I want to see the top of the clouds, the sides, I can just intensify them. Just again, because we've got highlight, mid-tone and dark, even in the skies. I'm exaggerating this a bit just to let you see it, but you can, that's how you can get drama in the sky, because we can have layers of folds of light, dark, bands of clouds just building up on each other. And again, we can blot. Okay. And now, we talked about the pen. I'm just going to show you a quick thing with the pen. We could actually just add little details, like you could have wee streaks of surf on the water. I can re-emphasize maybe some, I can just firm up some lines on the bow. I could even do some scoring for the clinker board. And what I'll then do, I'm going to take, just as a point of interest, I'll make it red deliberately just so you can see it. It wouldn't be red necessarily, but I'm just going to put an oar in across the boat. And that becomes a point of interest. It draws your eye in, and a wee bit of shadow underneath it. Wee reflection in the sand. And in very simple terms, that's impressionistic watercolours. And one last thing, your rope at the front is called a painter. We could just run that off the page. Now what we could have done, we could have masked the tape, but we'll look at masking the whole image to create a very firm, tight edge. And then you paint right to the tape, and then you take the tape off and you get clean edges, and you can actually frame your painting on the page, which looks quite good when you're finished. I haven't done it in this case, I've just let it bleed off the page. And what you must, now, I'm just going to do this because this is my trademark in any work I do. If there's a sky, there's always three birds. I'm just going to use the pen, score them in, and always sign your work so that nobody can claim it's theirs. And there you have a very quick, sort of basic watercolour image. And we'll look at refining that and doing different topics, but that's very quick and loose, but just to show you how flexible watercolour can be.